Hello. What's going on, man? You guys are gonna have to let me know if the audio and the video sounds good before I get going here. Got like a new setup I'm working with, so things are still a little bit of a work in progress. All right, cool. What's going on, Daniel? Good to see you. All right, cool, guys. Um, So we're just giving a couple minutes here, guys. See how many people want to join in and hear me yell about Bitcoin, and then we'll just fucking jump into it. I apologize in advance for my stuffy ass sounding nose. I somehow managed to get sick for the umpteenth time this year, and it's pissing me off, but not much I can do. Any of you guys are like naturopathic doctors or want to send me any sort of natural remedies for getting rid of a stuffy nose, holla at your boy. What's going on, Goo? How you doing, homie? James, what's up? I'm just gonna be mouth breathing so hard for this entire stream. It's gonna be great. Oh shit! I fucking knocked my laptop off of my desk the other day, and it fucking has a huge dent in it now. I'm fucking livid. What's going on, Cuppy and Zachary? Ah, AJ, how you doing, man? Cool. All right. Well, we'll give this clock here till one more minute, and then I'm just gonna start talking. And whoever's here, we'll just start fucking going. Yeah, dude. If you guys got some fucking shit for me to stop getting sick all the time, absolutely send it my way. I'm 100% confident my diet could be better, and I absolutely could be taking and absorbing more vitamins. But you know, trading, entrepreneurship, that degen lifestyle, my health for many years has been like second on the totem behind making money. And now that I'm getting closer to 30, old as fuck, I'm starting to have some revelations about, you know, maybe trying to focus on my health a little bit more. Yeah, all of y'all giving me tips in the comments. DM me on Discord. TraderMain7962. You should all have me on Discord by now, but DM me on Discord your thoughts. I am a boomer, James. I'm boomer as fuck, bro. You know how hard it was for me to figure out how to stream? Fucking nightmare. Dude, I've been chugging oil of oregano like it's going out of style. All right, cool. So we got a pretty good audience here so far. Um, Charles, what's up? Andrew, you're not that old. I'm right there with you, bro. Dirty 30 in a couple months. So let's just get into it. So, uh, wanted to hop on stream with you guys because I love you. And I just want to talk about Bitcoin, and I love the sound of my own voice, right? So, what better perfect mix than talking about Bitcoin on a live stream where it's just me talking to myself, to a bunch of random strangers on the internet who I've never met. So, just kind of want to chat about the state of the market, kind of my thoughts about, you know, where things are going. If you've been following me on Twitter, I think they're going to go up soon. But looking at this chart right now, not looking so hot. So let's discuss. I mean, more than anything, I want to start making these live streams a weekly thing. I really enjoy doing it, and it's just been too easy for me to kind of get off of my schedule. So I want to get back to, you know, kind of doing these on a regular basis and just interacting with y'all, and you know, more than anything, just staying in touch, finding a good way to communicate. And I find it's way easier to talk about the markets and the charts in this kind of format than it is in 140 characters on Twitter. You know, Cred used to proofread and help me, you know, kind of summarize all of my tweets and make them more impactful in less characters. But, you know, his fame has gotten to his head, and I no longer have his services for that anymore, unfortunately. So I'm on my own out here. So hey, rookie, I appreciate that, bro. Well, we'll see if you have a bunch of respect for me if I'm getting stopped out in a couple of days. We'll see if that changes. So let's chat Bitcoin. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark up this Bitcoin chart with levels that I think are relevant and are important. I'll tie this into kind of some of the shit I've been tweeting over the last couple of months, because my stance has pretty much stayed the same the entire time, like Rookie here alluded to. I've been sticking beside my goal here. And, one of the hardest things in trading, especially in a space like crypto where you're on Twitter and you have all of these other people's opinions. Basically, that's what a tweet is. This is someone's opinion, right? And it's on your timeline. And now whether or not you're absorbing that information or you think you are, that has now entered your mind and it's now going to affect your decision making. So it's very hard in crypto, I find at least, to stick to your guns. If you do some analysis on the charts and then you go out and go on Twitter and see all these other people who have counter arguments or who are maybe on the other side of the trade, it can fuck you up and have you look at the charts a different way. So I'm going to show you guys the levels that I think are relevant and that I'm focused on, and kind of my thoughts on price action right now. And then we'll open it up. If you guys got any questions, if you got any thoughts, you want me to chart anything, you got any coins you want me to look at, anything at all, I'm happy to take a look. And we'll just go from there. We'll keep it pretty open-ended and free-flowing, and we'll just see what happens. So I know Cred is really good at grammar. So let's talk about it. So, I mean, here's the naked weekly chart on Bitcoin, right? So at a first glance, to me, this chart is going one of two places, right? So if you don't have anything on the chart, you got no levels or nothing, right? Well, what are you looking at? You're looking for where's the nearest draw on liquidity, right? Where's the most likely place for price to move in the near future? So there's a swing low way down here. Scary, scary numbers down there. This swing low's been run. I mean, but this is still a relevant kind of level where you could see price go to. So I'm going to put an X down there, right? Running below these lows again. And then obviously the next place would be above this swing high. So essentially 11K. So if we're trying to frame the market in terms of liquidity or where the market is most likely to go, to me, these two are the most likely situations. We're either going to be going towards 11K very soon, or we're going to be breaking through 7,000, in my opinion. One of those two things is going to happen relatively soon. And if we break below 7,000, then you're going to have new levels, right? You're going to have, let's say we break down from here, right? And then we start consolidating. Then you're going to have new X's, right? You're going to have an X here, and you're going to have this one. And then is it going to break up, or are we going to continue to break down? So that's going to be kind of the path of, I don't know if path of least resistance is the right term, but when you're trying to determine where price is going, this is how I trade. When I trade any sort of FX pair, any sort of crypto, anything, what I start off is the high time frame, and then I mark areas where I think price is likely to go next, and then I frame that as my bias. So if in my opinion, that this is the next likeliest area that price is going to go, I want to be looking for longs on the lower time frame. And let's say we break down and I say, okay, I think the next area we're going to go to is this swing low. I'm going to be looking for shorts on the lower time frames. And that's kind of how I frame my trades. So, just looking at the weekly, this doesn't look good. Like, I'm not trying to front like this looks super fucking bullish by any means. Like, this is not look like it wants to go for another leg up after you had 3 months of what you could very, very understandably call distribution up here, right? Above this level here. This looks like distribution. This looks like we made a move up, we distributed, we broke down, we retested the level bearishly, and now we're selling off. That's, so there's a ton of bears on my feed. And I want to preface all of this with saying, I understand that Twitter is not all of the sentiment that is in crypto. But in my opinion, Twitter can be used subjectively to try and determine the sentiment of a lot of traders. It's not like a one-to-one thing. When someone's like, everyone's bearish, therefore I am bullish, or everyone is bullish, therefore I am bearish. I'm not talking about that, but there is value, in my opinion, in looking what the sentiment of the masses of people on Twitter are saying about crypto, and trying to add that as a piece of confluence to your analysis, right? Just like indicators, I don't think any indicator is good enough that you can make a trading decision off of it alone. You can't be like, the RSI is overbought or oversold, therefore I am longing or shorting. It's not enough. You can use the RSI in confluence with price action and other shit and then make a decision, but I don't think one indicator is enough. Just like I don't think just sentiment on Twitter is enough to be like, everyone is bearish, therefore I'm bullish. So my feed, at least, and part of this is from my own doing. I mean, I've been posting nothing but fucking bullish shit forever, like for the longest time, right? Like I've, for those who have been following me, I posted in July this weekly order block. Okay, and we saw a lot of people start watching this same area, you know, right here, about buying a dump into this weekly order block. 7.5K. I said it on my Twitter. I think we go to 7.5K, then we go to all-time high. And that was up here. That was before we broke down. Now, obviously, when we were up here, I wanted us to break up. I didn't even want to come down here. But I said, if we come down to this weekly order block, I'm buying the dip. And so that's what I did. And I had a very nice trade. We ran this low here, right? And then we had a huge move here. Okay? This was part of my plan. A breakdown into here and then a move away was part of my plan. Once that happened, my next area of interest was this breaker in ICT land, or this level here. Once we made the pump to 10.5, I posted another chart on Twitter saying, okay, I wouldn't be surprised if this retraces down here. Everyone gets bearish. Okay, everyone tries to short it, saying, oh, this is so bearish. It's retracing this move, lower lows, lower highs. That's all I see on Twitter right now. And then we just fucking launch from here. That's been my plan since like June. So the fact that now we are doing what I thought we were going to do. You guys know that meme? Like, they are what we thought they were. It's that like college football coach or whatever. The market is doing what I thought it was going to do. So I'm trying my very best, despite tons of outside influence, to flip my bias and be like, well, I'm bearish now. Because inherently, having a pump like this, huge pump, fourth biggest bull move in Bitcoin's history, retrace like 75% in a matter of, a couple of weeks, it's not super bullish. Like it's just not. But this is within my expectation of what I thought price was going to do. So I'm sticking with my plan for now. Absolutely, I can be wrong. And part of me wanting to do this video is to reiterate that fact, because, I have 50 some odd thousand followers on Twitter. It's ridiculous. Like I never thought I would have this many followers, and it's very easy to forget that, now that I have this many followers, inevitably, as much as anyone who blindly follows what some cartoon fucking bird or any other fucking, cartoon avatar or any person in a suit on Twitter tells you to do, and take that as financial advice and follow it blindly without doing any of your own analysis or research, to me, that's Darwinism. That's like natural selection. It's like these types of people exist, and there's a reason that they're going to be eliminated from the gene pool one way or another. You have to be responsible for your own actions. Someone can post, perfect stop entry target on a trade, and you could take it blindly and make money. But if you take it blindly and lose money, they didn't force you to press a button, right? But what I realize is I have a big audience, and it's very easy to play into the bullish hype, right? Like, you want to get in the engagement cycle on crypto Twitter, let me in on your little secret. Just post bullish shit. You're going to get a shit ton of likes. You know what I mean? Some of the best accounts on Twitter to counter trade are ones that post nothing but bullish shit, and they have extremely high follower accounts, and their trading strike rate is dog shit, but they just post a bunch of bullish shit. They get a bunch of bullish engagement, and even if they're wrong, it's just drowned in, so many posts that you don't even know, and no one even really cares. But I want to be somewhat responsible for my feed, and as much as I'm aware, like, if you make a decision based off something I posted on Twitter, you're a fucking idiot. I want people to know that, like, hey, don't just blindly do stuff that I say, and know that just because I'm uber fucking bullish on crypto, our circumstances, one, might be very different. Two, I use fucking risk management like a motherfucker. So I am like, worst case scenario for me, if we were to do this, right? Let's say this happens. Because I've seen this on Twitter. I've literally seen this exact move. This is just a lower high, and we're about to make a lower low. Okay, first of all, if you think this is going to happen on Bitcoin, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, this would, in my opinion, just wreck the market for so long. So to me, to think that that's happened, I've seen people saying we're going to retest like the 2013 high at like $1,100. Maybe. But to me, like, that would fuck this space so hard. It's like, if you're not long-term bullish on crypto, why are you in crypto? You know what I mean? Like, it's very obvious, to me at least, that one thing this market does, I don't even know what I just deleted there, but one thing that this market does very well is it goes up. Right? So I'm not trying to fade this trend on the super high time frame. Like, the difference between me and perhaps a lot of people, on crypto Twitter are, or who knows, maybe I'm oversimplifying things here, but I don't have 90% of my net worth in crypto. I don't even have close to 50% of my net worth in crypto. I have what I consider a lot of money in crypto. And if crypto went to zero, I would be absolutely super butthurt about it. And I would have lost a significant sum of money, but I'm still going to be able to pay my rent. I'm still going to be able to live my life. I'm still going to be able to do the things that I want to do. Because in my opinion, I have my risk managed. Like, at the end of the day, this is a highly speculative, unregulated, inefficient market and asset class. And if you have 90% of your net worth invested into this, like, I am not envious of you. I mean, maybe you're going to make off like a fucking bandit if we do moon here, and you're going to buy an island and a yacht and get a girlfriend and all that good shit, kudos to you. But for me, like, the likelihood of crypto going to zero is the equal odds, or is of equal probability in my mind, that it is to go to 100K. You know what I mean? To me, it's a one or a zero. It's binary. This is either going to continue to moon. It's either going to continue to do this, right? It's either going to continue to do this, or it's going to die. There's no in between for me. I'm talking super high time frame here, right? And so I've positioned myself over the last year in spot in a way, so I bought down here. I bought this little consolidation on crypto, and I made a tweet that still gets screenshotted and posted in comments of my tweets being like, hey, don't not buy 5K because you're waiting for 3K because we might not get it. Like, that was something along those lines, to that effect. And then, like, literally, days later, we're at 3K and blah, blah. People are retweeting, but then I continued to buy down here. And then I continued to buy up here. And then I bought some more up here. So my average is really good, right? Like, for a few months, this buy looked shitty, but a few months later, it looked pretty fucking good. Once we started this rip, all of a sudden a buy at 5K is really good. So I did a good job of averaging in this period. So my spot holdings, I'm not selling them. Like, that's just the bottom line. To me, my spot holdings, it's a binary thing. I'm either going to be selling it through all-time high for hopefully 5 to 10x of my buy price, or I'm going to be holding it to zero. That's it. Okay, so that's investing in crypto for Trader Mayne for me. I don't suggest or advise, because it's illegal, that you do the same or suggest anything. I think you should be responsible for your own decisions. But all I'm saying is, on my spot holdings, my stop is literally zero. It's moon or it's doom for me on there. Trading, this is a different conversation, but I know that my situation is unique to me, and not everyone is in the same situation. Some of you are heavily invested in fucking crypto. Some of you's livelihoods could be invested in crypto. I've seen horror stories on Reddit in my DMs of people who got absolutely rinsed here and here. And all I can say is if you are super, 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 super deep in crypto, the market structure looks bearish right now. So absolutely hedging your bets is a good idea, right? If you're just looking at the weekly chart here, you can see that we ran these highs here, never really closed through. Maybe there, maybe I drew this wrong, but this is your bull bear line. Like just on the weekly, I think there's more. There's lower time frame levels that will confirm that we're gonna break up. But if you want just like a high time frame level, like okay, above here, we're definitely fucking mooning. Like we're definitely gonna fucking go through here. This is your level. We get a high time frame weekly close through this level, we are absolutely going through 20K, in my opinion. So if we were to get a bounce, right, to, I don't know, 9 something, right? It wouldn't be a terrible idea if you're heavily invested in crypto to hedge some of your money and then have an idea of where you're wrong. Because let's say that this is going to be, crypto is going to do something unprecedented and it's actually going to take out this low. Because that would be unprecedented for crypto to have this kind of a run in, I showed you the logarithmic chart already, but then for this low to get taken out, it'd be unprecedented in my opinion. But let's say that's going to happen and we're about to do this. You're going to be, and you have 70 whatever percent of your net worth invested in crypto. It would probably be a good idea to hedge your bets while we're trading above 8K. If we start trading at 9K again, absolutely not a bad idea. And then where are you wrong? Well, I mean, you're definitely wrong above here. One could argue that you're probably wrong if we get back above 10K. In my opinion, if we get back above 93.50, I think we break up because 93.50 is essentially like the bottom of this consolidation. I'll zoom in and show you where I get that level. But you could hedge, right? So like if you're worried, because I get this DM all the time, like, hey, Trader Mayne, like, are we going to 4K again? Like I have all of my money in crypto and my average is 8K and I'm worried. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but like if that was me, I would definitely be prepared for downside, right? Like hedging is fucking trader talk for covering your ass. So if the market looks like it might want to roll over and you own this asset, which is Bitcoin, absolutely you should hedge your bets. But you got to understand with hedging, there is some risk the other way, right? If you're hedging with a 1x short on BitMEX, putting you in synthetic USD, right? You're hedging based on thinking it's going to go down. But let's say it breaks up, right? We'll have a level that you determine where you're like, you know what, I think we're going to continue up, and be prepared to eat this loss. Like if we get above this high, you're wrong and we're going up, well then you cut your hedge at 10,000. You accept the loss of wherever, let's say you hedged at 9,000, you accept $1,000 loss for every Bitcoin that you hedged, right? But then you're riding it to the upside, right? So you can cover your ass without that much risk by hedging. Like absolutely, if you did not sell or hedge any Bitcoin up here, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what to tell you, but I know a lot of people didn't. And be careful. Like if you're heavily invested in crypto, just because it's an investment, you should still know where you're wrong. I'm telling you, my situation is zero, but that's because crypto could delete from the internet tomorrow and not exist, and I'd still be good to go. For some of you, that might not be the case. I get DMs from people telling me they have like 80% of their net worth in crypto right now. So absolutely, if this drops 20% in value or 50% in value, that could fuck your shit up. So definitely use risk management, even though you're talking about your spot holdings, etc. Like definitely still use risk management. So I want to take responsibility for my following. I know I've been saying a lot of bullish shit, and I've been getting a lot of engagement on these bullish posts. Like at the end of the day, guys, I'm ready to ride this thing to zero from my spot holdings. And from a trading perspective, if we lose this low, my stop is at 7,200 on my swing long. So if we go below 7,200, I'm going to lose a predetermined percentage of my account, and then I'm going to look for another trade. So just be aware. As much as people on Twitter will tweet at me being like, Trader Mayne is wrecked because he was bullish and it went down, like I'm going to get stopped out, I'm going to lose some money, and then I'm going to try and long it again lower. Okay? So that's it for that fucking part of the rant, I guess. Let's see here. The Bears, yeah, they are who we thought they were. Cred is so much cuter than I imagined. No homo. Yeah, he is a handsome lad. I've met him. Sounds like a boomer right now. I am a boomer, bro. Pitch me 2 books, your fave, interested in trading, investing in general. Okay, I'll do that at the end of the video. So with all that being said, like let's start with the counter argument. Let's start with what could be wrong and the bearish argument here on Bitcoin right now, and then I'll talk about why I'm bullish, and then you can ask me any fucking questions and make your own decision at the end of the day. So there's a lot of reasons to be bearish right now. To me, running these highs here and then closing below, right? And then consolidating for 3 months and then breaking down and then bearishly retesting the breakdown of the consolidation. This is all bearish price action, okay? This in itself, running these highs, bearish. Lower highs, lower lows, bearish. Absolutely. Clear swing lows to be run down here and down here. That ICT market maker model that I used to always post, right? That would literally say we're going to go through all of these lows down to here. So a lot of reasons to be bearish. I get that. There's an argument to be made that this bear market was short and that this is like a lower high to here, right? And this is going to be the next leg in price. You take your fib, right into your OTE, your 61.8 retracement. There's a lot of reasons there to be bearish, okay? Looking at the line chart. You know, if you know anything about market structure, this is what we call bearish market structure, right? Low, lower high, lower low, or sorry, lower low, lower high, right? That's bearish market structure. One could argue this is some sort of head and shoulders pattern forming here, right? There's your shoulder, there's your head, there's your shoulder, and once we break down, it's fucked. Like there's a lot of confluent items in price action that are bearish for sure. I absolutely agree with that statement. I do think there's a lot of reason and valid arguments to be bearish. So I'm not trying to discount that. I'm just saying I disagree, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But absolutely here, you know, there's a lot of, I get it. People are like, man, how are you bullish here when we're breaking all these levels and all of this shit looks bearish? Like, I fucking get it. Breaking down from this consolidation, retesting it, and selling off makes this look like distribution. It makes it look like this entire move up got distributed here, and it's going to sell all the way back down. That's the standard market maker sell model, right? Is accumulation of smart money here, right? Distribute at the top. They flip short. Everyone's trying to buy, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. And then the market maker model breaks down. So I get all of that. All of that is very apparent to me. here's why I disagree, I guess. And I guess to touch on some of the fundamental shit, I think the miners capitulating shit is bullshit. I have zero evidence to back that up. This is completely anecdotal for me. I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. I just focus on the chart. But the same talk was happening here. Miners capitulating. Miners are going to capitulate. It's going below production costs. And now it's happening again here. I think the miners that have been mining Bitcoin profitably have been mining it for so goddamn long that selling it at $8,000 per Bitcoin is absolutely nowhere near fucking break even for them. They're making money, in my opinion. I just don't think that that's a thing. I think that's just a stupid fucking narrative. But that's just me. If someone has some evidence that they want to shoot my way why I'm wrong and miners are actually capitulating, fucking feel free. But I think people suffer from recency bias because people were saying miners were capitulating here. We're now trading at almost 3 times that price. And now they're capitulating again. I don't fucking know. I just think that's dumb. And I think people always will just try and find a narrative to fit their bias, right? And when I'm talking about recency bias, people forget where we were at the start of this year. I have more people on my feed bearish now than were bearish here. More people bearish now than were bearish here. We're $800, almost $1,000 higher in price. Now the argument could be made, well, that's because we pumped and then we retraced super fucking hard and that's why it's bearish. Sure. But were you not bearish the entirety of up here? Like, why are you getting bearish at 8 fucking K? We were above 10K for 3 months, right? Now you're bearish $2,000 below after we've retraced, 40% of the high. So that's why I disagree. So now I'll talk why I kind of disagree with the bears. So obviously a lot of signs of bearishness. The price action undeniably is bearish. This looks like a falling, like a channel that's just trading down. And if you were to say, okay, well, this seems like the next logical move, and then a bounce, and then maybe this fucking trades all its way down. But to me, it's like, well, this looks kind of like a bull. I mean, I guess I'll get into my counter arguments in a second, but one of my situations I'm prepared for is this being a massive fallen wedge. And it's that USD ZAR example that I've posted. We make one more swing low and then we break out. So I'll be prepared for that. I'll be buying that move because if we do lose this low, I think the next area we trade into is here, which I'm absolutely going to fucking try and long again because this was a great level to long for the entire year. This was a great level on the way out. Once we broke through there, it led us like several $1,000s higher. So absolutely, I'm buying that level. But so there's bearish price action. People are bearish. I fucking get it. I understand. But to me, here's I guess why I disagree. For one, I don't like to use the logarithmic chart often because I think it can oversimplify things, right? Like it's very clear that this is a fucking uptrend, right? Like this is a lower high forming on the logarithmic chart, and one could argue, that this growth curve is, getting less steep. So there could be arguments to be made that this is going to be different this time, right? But was this time different? Right? Or this time, I mean, you can't really see it on these high time frames, but there's been lower highs on this logarithmic chart that people thought, like this, that people thought were the end of Bitcoin, right? So to me, for this low to get taken out, that would be unprecedented. And that's what some people are calling for. So that's one reason why I disagree. Also, I'm not trying to fight history. One thing BTC has shown over its entirety of existence is that it's really good at going up. And just looking at the monthly chart, it goes up a lot more than it goes down. If you had bought the all-time high in any year, except for this last year at 20K, you're up big, right? The all-time lows, also, if you bought the all-time low or the all-time high, held it all the way to the all-time low, through the next all-time high, back down to the next low, right? You're making money every time. So this chart to me looks like something I've seen before. It looks like a pump and dump on a massive scale by large entities who are manipulating the market in a way that retail investors will get fucked and continue to buy this thing at the top, sell back here and buy back at the top again, and then sell here and buy, and the same thing is happening. You know what it looks like to me? Kind of looks like this chart, right? Like, you can't tell me that there's not at least some similarities between this chart and the Bitcoin logarithmic chart. Obviously, the market structure is not the exact same. Obviously, the time frames are hugely different. But to me, there's a lot of similarities. One being that the stock market is the biggest pump and dump of all time, right? Like, retail has been on the wrong side of the stock market for the entirety of its existence. To me, the stock market is a device that transfers wealth from those with knowledge, those to those without, or from those without knowledge to those with knowledge. And it does this in several ways, but it's an asset transfer. It's devaluating certain industries by increasing value in other industries, causing people to sell their homes at the height of the recession when the market is just absolutely shit on, only to rebuy homes back here. Who are buying these homes? The fucking banks, right? Like, it's an asset transfer. It's a fucking pump and dump. It's a scam. It's a Ponzi, whatever the fuck you want to call it. To me, Bitcoin is no different than this. It's just this on steroids at hyperspeed. And maybe I'm just completely talking out of my ass here, but I don't think so. I think the market moves the same way. It moves in cycles. And you could have bought the top in 2008 and 10 years later been double your money, right? But who bought the top and held? Again, no one. Everyone's sold, right? And then they're rebuying back here. And it's, the Wall Street cheat sheet, right? It's a chart of human emotion and greed and fear. And to me, Bitcoin is no different. And it, to me, if Bitcoin is anything but like a microcosm of what I think the stock market is, which is just an asset transfer from fucking idiots to, slightly less idiots with more knowledge, just more inefficient and unregulated, so it's happening quicker and faster. Why would you fight the prevailing trend, which is that it likes to go up? You know what I mean? How many times has the world ended and everyone's retirement savings to be ruined only for it to be smashing through all-time high years later? The problem is we're in crypto. 10 years is like forever, right? 10 years is forever. We've had like 4 bull markets and bear markets in 10 years. So you're telling me a bull market could take 10 years to resume? So to me, it's no different, right? Like, the stock market goes up. You can look this up. 98%, I believe, maybe even more, maybe 99, but 98% of mutual funds will underperform the stock market over a 10-year span. Because a mutual fund in itself is, a diversified basket of assets, of stocks. I believe it has to be like 20 or 25 or somewhere around there. And basically the math works out that this market, right, is so efficient that once you get that diversified, your winners and losers essentially will cancel each other out to a point that you won't outperform just an ETF that you could have created that just mirrored the S&P 500. It would underperform that, a mutual fund, right? So to me, what that tells me is that to outperform, the prevailing trend is very difficult, right? And the mutual fund, whole system is a scam, right? Not only are you underperforming the market for the most part, but you're also paying management fees. Here in Canada, the MERs on mutual funds are like 2 to 2.5%. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but let's say your fund returns 8% minus your 2% management fee, you're only getting 6. Compound that 2% that you're losing over 30 years that you're saving up for your retirement. Compound interest is a fucker. You're getting fucked out of the opportunity cost you're losing is huge. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is, to me, I see a lot of similarities between what's going on in Bitcoin and this macro trend that people are too zoomed in to focus on. And people are like, well, price is going down from now. It's like, yeah, but it's all relative to time frame, right? Like, this is just people's different perceived value of Bitcoin at any point in time. So to me, I'm not trying to be like, oh, well, if you bought in 2012, like, who the fuck cares if it goes down to 4K? Like, obviously there's huge money to be made buying low and selling high and catching the swings, of course. But the whole point is, like, you don't need to catch the absolute top or the absolute bottom. You need to catch the meat of the move, right? And the meat of the move in Bitcoin over the last 10 years has been up. So to me, it's an asset that makes more sense to long based on the high time frame prevailing trend, based on the fact that when you own Bitcoin, you're effectively long Bitcoin. When we're in a bull market, you're making money without even trading, right? And then when you do trade on sites like BitMEX, you get paid in Bitcoin, so you're winning again. And you can there's unlimited upside, right? Again, it's a binary thing. It's going to 0 or it's going to 100K in my head, right? So there's huge upside, and the downside is down 99%, right? Fully retracing. So from I just went on like some crazy fucking rant there, guys. I'm sorry. I ate a weed gummy like an hour ago, so that fully clearly is kicking in right now because I'm talking about all sorts of wild shit. But let's talk about, forget investing. Let's talk about why I'm bullish from the chart perspective, I guess. So for me, I had this order block marked for fucking ages. I had it posted on TradingView, posted on Twitter back in July. I expected to move down here when we broke down here. Once we took out this low, right, we broke down here. We had this big move. And to me, this is bullish. I think a lot of people think this move isn't bullish. They think it's purely manipulative, whatever you want to call it. And the fact that it's retracing just confirms that. To me, I don't think that this is, a lower high, personally. I think what's happening is we're starting a new trend. I think this is a low, this is a high, and now we're trying to figure out where the next higher low is going to form. And based on how I trade, the first place I would look for a next higher low is right here at this weekly bullish order block, this weekly demand. There's a lot of confluent SR levels here. There's these previous highs right here, right? Bang on there. There's the top of this candle here, right? Bang on. So this, to me, if I'm trying to say, okay, this is the start of an uptrend, where's the next higher low going to form? This is my first guess, right? And then my next guess is going to be here, because how I trade is when I think the trend is shifting or we're seeing continuation, I want to see a previous high, right, taken out, and then I'm trying to guess where the next higher low is going to be, expecting continuation, and I want to long there with my stop here, targeting here, and then wherever the previous highs are. That's how I fucking trade. So based on that, I'm expecting for us to form a higher low. And I think it's either going to happen here, right, and then go here. Or if I'm wrong, I'm going to guess again lower. Guess might be the wrong word. It's an educated guess. But I mean, technical analysis, in my opinion, is you using a bunch of tools, levels, indicators, etc. to make educated guesses about what's going to happen in the market. Right? Or the higher low could form lower. But in my opinion, we're starting a new bull trend. So I want to be trying to buy the higher low. And if I just put just the fib on here, right? Bitcoin loves to pull back to the 61.8, right? You go through the entire bear market, all these pullbacks were like 61.8, same as the way out. So one could argue, okay, well, the next higher low is going to form in here, right? 63 to 72. I like this area. If I'm wrong about here, my next area of interest is here, right? But to me, I like that we had this huge consolidation, a dump, right? And I posted a chart about this. I said Bitcoin has broken down from wedges a bunch of times and quickly regained them and continued. Obviously, this is not ideal. We broke down from this wedge, came back up to it, but then rejected again. That's undeniably bearish. But to me, I like that when we broke down here, we came into this area of interest to me. We ran this high time frame low, and we had a huge reaction from the market. Now, a lot of people are saying this is just a bearish retest of the bottom, and they are absolutely looking a whole lot smarter than I am right now, right? By my same trading, kind of rules, this is a bearish order block. We've came in, we've bearishly retested it, and we're selling off. So like absolutely kudos to you. If you shorted this, good job. But for me, I like that that there was buying that stepped in here. We ran this low into the weekly order block. Buying stepped in. We had a undeniably bullish move. And to me, the sentiment on the market is kind of lining up to what I think, could lead us to, continuation. So once we had this pump, so we hit the weekly order block, we ran the lows of this consolidation, we came right back up. Now we're selling off. The next area I watched is here, because to me, the reason this level is significant, you can call it a breaker, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, I do not care. But this candle here is what led to the move that flushed out all of these lows and flushed out that weekly level that I showed you just before. So to me, this price level is key. We've nuked through it, and to me, if we trade back through this price level, okay, and it does not offer support, to me that's bearish, right? And that would lead me to believe that we are going to continue lower. And again, the next place I would look to buy is around here. That would be the 60, 70% retracement of this entire move. 6K was the floor, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to explain that anymore, right? So, but to me, right now, we hit my weekly level, okay? We had a reaction, and now we're trading right at a key level, in my opinion, that caused this reaction here. So if we lose this level, absolutely, I think that's really bad for Bitcoin. My stop is here on my swing long. Okay, my long is like, it's not like a 20 to R long, okay? From here, my target is 10.5, my stop is here. My risk to reward is like 2.2 on this trade. And if I get stopped out outside of humiliation on Twitter, which I don't really give a fuck about, I'm going to lose some money. But there's my risk. There's my reasoning. Because at the end of the day, as much as this is a downtrend, right? The market structure, and I did a kind of like a Twitter thread on this, the market structure shifts, from uptrend, because what's going to happen eventually, if this is a bull market, and let's assume we are going to take out this high, and a higher low is going to form eventually, right? Let's assume that for a second. The market structure, right? Eventually this is going to happen, right? The market structure, though, it shifts on the lower time frame first. So it might not be apparent on the weekly that we're about to, potentially start going up here and take out this high. But that evidence is going to make itself apparent on the low time frame before it becomes apparent on the weekly time frame. So the reason I'm in this long is for, those reasons I just explained to you. Price is doing what I thought it was going to do. We're now at a key level, right? If this was my plan to buy 7.5K, right? And then once we had this pump to be bullish again here, now that we're here, I'm not going to flip my bias and get bearish, because that's the hardest thing about trading. I'm telling you, every account on Twitter, when we were up here, so many fucking accounts who trade price action and whatever else, all were like, I'm long, I'm bullish at 7.5K, but we might go up from here, but if we get to 7.5K, I'm bullish. But then we got to 7.5K and everyone got bearish, right? And then we pumped and everyone's like, oh yeah, like I was bullish here. And then now everyone's like, oh, I made a post. I said 8150 is the dream long entry that we might not get, but everyone will be scared when we get it. And sure enough, everyone was like, yeah, we're just going to break up from here. And then we broke down, right? And then, I've been bullish this entire way down because I'm expecting this falling wedge. I think this is a bull flag. I'm expecting this to be just a bull flag on a bigger scale, right? So, and I think this is a bull flag, whatever you want to call it, or falling wedge into support. I think it's a very similar to here, but I digress. I said this is a level where I'm going to be interested in longing. And that's the same as everyone saying they were going to be interested in longing at 7.5. The difference is it's easy to say that when you're at 9K. It's easy to be like, oh, I'd love to buy 8150 when we're at 9K. Of course, everyone wants to buy 7.5K when it's looking like we might just break up from here. But when we get there, who's pulling the trigger on it, right? Who's sticking with their analysis that entire time? Very few. So that's what I'm doing. I absolutely could be fucking completely wrong, and based on how much fucking bullish hopium I've been posting on Twitter, I'm gonna look pretty dumb. But I already know if I'm wrong exactly how much money I will lose. So I don't really give a shit what Twitter thinks, right? So as much as I engage with trolls and all that shit, like I'm fucking half the time I'm baked and fucking just talking shit with cartoon characters who are talking shit to me under my posts. Like I don't fucking care. And if you care, I think you need to like go outside or something. Like fuck Twitter. Fuck twitter.com. Like I think it's great for connecting with people. I've made some great friends. I love sharing, but like fuck what anyone says on there negative about you or anything like that. Like if you're taking that seriously, you need to reevaluate some shit. You shouldn't care about anyone's opinion except for your own opinion of yourself, because no one else's opinion in the entire world, not your parents, not your boss, not anything matters at all. The only opinion that matters is your fucking opinion. You know, Dave Chappelle, I think it is one of his comedy specials, was an older one, was talking about, it's called self-esteem for a reason. It's esteem in your fucking self, right? So for people who think that, like, you know, because there's people, they're DMing me, they're sending me screenshots of shit that I get wrong. Like it's sad. Like it for me, it's funny how sad it is that they think that they're like bullying me, or that I care, or that I'm losing sleep over this shit. I think it's hilarious that someone would take the time out of their day to screenshot some shit that I said online like 6 months ago and find it on their fucking computer, or save it being like Trader Mayne's call this date, and then look it up and then fucking post it months down the line. Like that's hilarious to me. Like, so regardless, I know how much I'm going to lose if I'm wrong, but for all these reasons I've just explained, this is why I'm bullish here. If I'm wrong, that next area I'm looking at of interest here is kind of this like 63 to 6,600 area. It would be a sweep of this entire consolidation back into what was the floor, you know, for this bull market, or the bear market, excuse me, what was the floor. But I'm of the mindset that what's going on now from a sentiment perspective on Twitter, I'm not trying to discount the size of this move. Maybe I'm completely being asinine and this move means nothing, but to me, the fourth biggest bull move in Bitcoin's 10-year history at a key level that I was focused on as support, I'm going to pay attention to that. This kind of reminds me of down here, you know what I mean? And I was, my nose is so stuffed, guys. It is fucked. To me, the sentiment is very similar here. You know, undeniably bearish. We just made a new low, right? Like we just dumped like a motherfuck from 6K, consolidated briefly, dumped more, took out this low here, made a low at like 3,100. Then we had this pump, right? But then everyone's like, well, this is just a lower high, right? It's just a lower high. This is retesting this level here. And then it's bearish price action. This is a downtrend, lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. But the volatility was drying up. Price was bleeding into support, volatility drying up, and everyone was getting more and more and more and more bearish the closer we got to what arguably should be support. Like if you trade support and resistance and price action like me, this is support until it's not. Right? You could say this is an over-under, whatever you want to call it, right? It's the floor here, goes under, over, whatever you want to call it, a breaker. But this is support, and everyone's getting more bearish into support. And I know the price action isn't exactly similar. This is a much steeper decline, right? But this is also a much bigger bull move than this one was. This was still a big one, but it was not as big as the one we just had. But we had, you know, a 35% move that slowly just bled out over weeks into support, and then it hung out on support and chopped. If you remember the doldrums of trading, and I don't know if it's gonna let me go back that far. You know, in February, like people were staring at this chart being like, there's no volatility, right? Like this entire time there's no volatility. This was like a couple weeks here, and then we had this move, right? So what I was talking about earlier, right, is this is a downtrend on the high time frame, but on the low time frame here, you now have a low, a high or low, and what is starting to form an uptrend, and this is clearer on the low time frame than it is on the high time frame, right? So what I'm hoping and expecting is the same. I'm thinking people are getting bearish into support here. Chop, chop, chop. We go sideways. Maybe alts run for a little bit. We go sideways. Bitcoin does not take out this low. I would consider this the 7.2 low, but it chops around, has some moves up, some moves down, some moves up, some moves down. Maybe it goes a little lower, but does not take out 7.2. And then we'll get some sort of reaction. And then the trend is going to shift, and then hopefully we see continuation. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. I'm banking on this is people getting bearish into support. I'm wrong if we trade below here. It's that simple, and then I will look to long lower. But again, my risk is managed. You know, like I said, I know exactly how much money I'm going to lose if I get this trade wrong. And if you're in a trade and you don't know how much you can lose before entering the trade, I think you're doing it wrong. When I trade, I focus on risk first, not reward. I don't say, well, if it goes to here, this is how much I'll make. I say, if I'm wrong, how much can I lose worst case scenario? Once I'm okay with that number, obviously then you find out the reward, make sure that it's asymmetric in your favor. Then I'm ready to take the trade because now there's no stress. I know the worst case scenario, right? Obviously, everyone should think of things, yeah, what's the best case scenario, right? But prepare for the worst, right? It's a cliche for a reason. Prepare for what you might lose and then fucking live with it, right? Let it ride. So this has been my plan for a while now. I've been super consistent about it. Absolutely, I hope that I'm right so I can rub it on all these dopey bears faces that have been talking shit to me. But if I'm wrong, you know, let them fucking talk shit on Twitter. I don't really care. I'm just gonna be in the charts looking for the next trade. You know, it's like duck off the water's back. A duck off the water's back. Now you know I'm stoned. It's like water off a duck's back. You know, it's not gonna affect me in the slightest. I could care less. I feel like I am. I'm not trying to toot my own fucking horn here, but I feel like I am one of the, you know, minority of accounts that posts about losing trades because I lose trades lots. I do not have a 50% strike rate, nor do I need to make money, especially in an inefficient market like crypto. The fact that crypto is so inefficient means that you can make money much easier, much more easily than you can in a efficient market like Forex or the stock market. So, you know, I get shit wrong all the time, and that's okay. So, and I will, and but I know what is the worst case scenario if I get it wrong in advance, and I suggest very strongly that all of you do the same because as much as it's fun to be bullish online and shit, I would hate to hear, even though it's not my fault at all, if you fucking listen to what I do and get wrecked. If you listen to what I say and I'm wrong and you get wrecked, that is not my fault, that's your fault. Just know that I'm losing money too, right? But I had the wherewithal to make sure that, like I said in my Twitter post, that it's a flesh wound if I get a trade wrong. It's not a kill shot. But even though it's not my fault, I would hate to hear someone being like, Mayne, you were bullish and you were wrong and I lost this much money. Like, I've gotten crazy DMs, guys. I've had people tell me they've like spent their tuition on BitMEX and lost it, and now they don't know what to do because they can't get back into school and their parents don't know, and just all sorts of fucking wild shit. So I don't wish that kind of shit on anyone. I like to think of myself as a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. Of course, I'm mean to some people online. I'm just talking shit on Twitter. It's all jokes. Like, at the end of the day, I want the best for everyone. So absolutely prepare yourself for the worst when you're trading a highly speculative asset like this. Because if we are to go down, I don't want to hear any horror stories about people fucking losing their livelihood because they were all in on Bitcoin at 8K and it's going to drop another 20%. So I feel like I just talked for an hour straight. Does anyone have anything they would like to talk about here? God, why is my fucking nose so stuffed? This shit is fucked. Yes, Ryan, I am sick. I don't even feel sick. I just have a fucking stuffed nose and it's pissing me the fuck off. All I can think about is all the time I took breathing through my nose for granted. I bought this like nasal spray shit and it clears my nose up, but like I'm not supposed to use it all day long, so I'm just saving it for before I go to bed. Okay, so pitch me 2 books, your fave in interesting trading books, investing books, and a fave book in general. So I haven't really read any trading books. I've read Trading in the Zone, but I like any sort of self-help or like book on self-improvement and entrepreneurship. So Malcolm Gladwell books I like. I love The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I like reading books like The Wealthy Barber by Dave Chilton, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Those are the kind of books I'm into reading. Yeah, but I haven't really read any like other than Trading in the Zone, like specific books about trading. I mean, there's books about building wealth and investing for sure. I'm into all that kind of shit. I'm a voracious reader, as much as it might not sound like that from my vocabulary that I use, because I like to swear like a sailor. But I like to read, so any sort of books like that, I'm definitely fucking into. Right now, I'm reading The Power of Now, uh, by Eckhart Tolle. So there's a suggestion. Not sure if you covered it in past streams. Why did you pick up using triangles? Why not ICT market maker model? So I've done a stream on this in the past on YouTube. To me, right, triangles, wedges, all that shit, it just describes market structure, right? Head and shoulders pattern, it all is market structure. So when I first learned to trade, I'd be like, this is a falling wedge. This is a, broadening wedge. This is the descending triangle. This is an ascending triangle, right? But what I learned when I started focusing on market structure, I said, well, this is just, higher lows, like an ascending wedge, whatever you want to call it, is just higher lows and higher highs. And like this flat bottom triangle is just, equal lows and lower highs. So why would that be bearish? Well, we're making lower highs and we have equal lows below, right? So triangles and shit, it just describes market structure. I just put those on there visually to, define market structure. I don't trade with trend lines, but a trend line can tell you that, we're making lower highs, which would be bearish, right? As long as we continue making lower lows. The thing is in my opinion, the way I trade, technically this is not a lower high yet until the low. So this is a lower high, okay? Because it generated this low. This is not a confirmed lower high until this low is taken out. That's how I trade. Same with higher highs as the vice versa. So I've always used shapes. I just don't post them because, it's not something it's just a way to illustrate market structure, right? Like what is, an over under pattern or a head and shoulders, right? Well, that's a low, a high to a potential lower high, right? And then you're shorting it to a lower low. It's just market structure. So you could use triangles and shit if you want. The ICT market maker model is nothing but showing market structure shifting from one trend, distribution above a level, shifting trend the other way. That's all it shows. Like I said, Amy, just because everyone bearish, it doesn't mean we're going to go up. Yo, what up? Sheeb, how you doing, homie? Based Mayne. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know when these fucking messages started or any of the shit. This fucking weed gummy hit me, guys, and I just went on a fucking tear. I can't believe I talked for that long without taking a break or checking the messages. Like, my mouth is fucking hella dry right now. Yo, what's up, Swing Trade BTC? Are you trying to reach 10 subscribers or 10,000? Because if it's 10, I can help you. If it's 10,000, I don't know. Modern Picasso. I was in at 8.4K that stopped out. Now waiting for 7.9. Yeah, man. Have a plan. Know where you're wrong. Waiting for serious bull trend before trading on high leverage. Yeah, I mean, to me, like, I think this is the start of a bull trend, right? Like, if you look at the history of the cryptos, right? Like, what did, right? Like, everyone thought this was just a lower high, right? But it wasn't until later, right, that it was clear that, okay, now we're starting a new bull trend, right? This consolidation up here looks like a lot like what we just experienced now. Okay? Bear market, huge run up into 14K. We have a descending triangle or whatever you want to call it, right? We break down, we retest it, we sell off again, but then all of a sudden we continue. And like at the time, like if you're just looking at price here, this is bearish. Because this is no different than where we are now. If you're like, well, it's bullish because of this higher low here, we have that same higher low back here. So what the fuck are you talking about? Right? But at the time, this looked bearish. It's only in hindsight when you zoom out that this was the start of like a monster fucking trend. So who's to say that this is not exactly where we are right now? And later, at a later date, we're going to come back and price is going to have gone like this. And it's like, oh shit, it was the start of a new bull trend. Of course I could be wrong, right? But to me, it's like the logic is no different than it was, you know, just draws a huge fucking line on the screen. Back here. At the time, I'm telling you, this shit looked bearish and people were bearish. And this shit, people were bearish, right? I'm telling you, it was the same thing and no different than way back here, right? People were bearish at every one of these highs on the way up. Right? Same shit here. People were bearish here. People were bearish here. But then you zoom out, and it's like, oh no, this was actually the start of a new trend. And this has been in an uptrend for a while. You just haven't realized it yet because you still think this is just a lower high relative to here. Right? To me, that's part of my logic. So I think we're starting a bullish trend. We went from 3 to 14K in a couple of months. Ethereum, sure. I'll chart Ethereum. Put my head over a pot of boiling water. Okay. Are you trying to have me horribly disfigure my face by burning it? Picasso, you son of a bitch. Um, I'll chart Ethereum in a second. I gotta fucking piss like a motherfucker. What do you think about a double bottom at sevens for a bullish case? I mean, sure. You mean like a double bottom here? It's possible, right? The reason I like this move is because we ran this low, right? Like this is a level everyone wanted to buy this block. Everyone, I'm not trying to say I was the first person to post this level on Twitter. Tons of people had it. But to me, everyone was getting bullish here. A lot of people would have had their stop right below here. We just doop, ganked. Arthur email hitting your inbox and then fucking move. So to me, right, this level's been run. We ran this low and this low, right? So the next level is here, I guess, or it's potentially down here. Who fucking knows? So that's the thing. No one knows for sure, right? Like, as much as I speak in absolute certainties what's going to happen, like, I hope you guys know, like, I'm a realist. Nobody has any fucking clue what's going to happen for sure in Bitcoin. Nobody does. Nobody knows for sure. So anyone who speaks in absolutes, like this is absolutely happening, like fuck those people, right? Nobody fucking knows, right? Everyone's just making educated, risk-adjusted guesses. So to me, you know, this is what I think. But again, I could be wrong. We do not know, but what I do know is we'll find out soon. Let the steam clear the sinuses. How many trades do you take a week or a month? That's a good question. So I don't trade just crypto. So I would say I take anywhere from 3 to 5 trades a week, but that includes forex and crypto. I also trade gold and silver, and I occasionally trade stocks. But I'd say 3 to 5 a week is kind of common. I'm much more of a high time frame trader on Bitcoin than I am on forex. Forex, you have volatility all the time. There's so many pairs, so many opportunities. You can find hundreds of trades every week. Crypto, there's not as much volatility. I own a business, so I'm not sitting here looking at the 5 minute chart. So for me, when I'm working at my business during the day and during the week, I'm not really going below the 4 hour very often because I know I can go and like do my shit during the day and a couple 4 hours candle will have passed and then I can come back and analyze the charts. So when there's not a ton of volatility, I'm not trading crypto very much. My trades take a while. I'm usually holding trades for multiple days, sometimes weeks in crypto. I'm still in half of my long from down here. So I'll hold trades in crypto. So I don't take a ton of crypto trades. Obviously, when the market was going like this, I was taking more trades, but even not so. From here to here, I was traveling in Europe for a large part of this, but I think I took 4 swing trades, right? And I got 3 of them right over this entire time. And I know people were in hundreds of trades. So I'm more of a swing trader than I am, a day trader. Oh, I didn't realize I was streaming at the same time as the Democratic convention. I didn't know I had so much competition. So 3 to 5 a week, I would say, is average for me, DJJ. There's so many bullish things going for BTC with the government's banks as it means payment. Once it gets going, Bitcoin is going to skyrocket. Now it's time for building positions. When cryptocurrency is accepted everywhere, all over the world, people will not even believe it's got him now below 10K. I mean, so I kind of agree with you, Christopher Nolan. Your name is almost Christopher Nolan. You're almost the producer and director of Batman, but not quite. So I kind of agree with you. Yes, like I think if you're not kind of long-term bullish, like I understand crypto to you and crypto to me is just a thing to make money. I'm not trying to think that Bitcoin's replacing money or whatever. I just think it's going to be a store of value. And if it's a store of value, the market cap of crypto in general is minuscule relative to other stores of value. So I think it's, again, a binary thing. It's either going to the fucking moon or it's not. So if you're not long-term bullish on crypto, I don't really know why you'd be here. I mean, sure, it's an asset to trade, but there's lots of assets to trade, right? So I'm inherently long-term bullish on crypto for that reason. I do think it's going to be a store of value, and I do think that the market cap is minuscule as relative to what it could be. Um, so, that's kind of my stance, but you have to, be careful when you're trading if that's your mindset, Christopher, because if your mindset is like, wow, Bitcoin has the government's backing it, banks, it's going to be a form of payment, that's going to bias your trading. You could be ignoring the fact like maybe this bull bear market continues. Maybe this is continuation. But if you're so bullish that crypto's, the new fucking thing and it's going to take over and all of this institutional money and government money, regulations are flowing in, you could end up giving back a lot of your gains by holding this thing down. Just because you're long-term bullish on crypto, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try and maximize swings, right? Like if you're long-term bullish on crypto, it doesn't mean you should hold it from here all the way to here, right? It means you should sell some here and then try and rebuy. Like you should still try and be smart like that. So yes, I agree with you in some ways. Like I do think if we were to take out this low, like it just doesn't make sense to me with what's flown into crypto over the last couple of years in terms of just, retail money and institutional money, whatever you want to call it. I mean, well, those are different things, but yeah, I mean, be careful about saying like Bitcoin's going to skyrocket because Bitcoin has skyrocketed thousands of percent since its inception. So who's to say that one day Bitcoin doesn't find like a relatively stable value or that the market cycles become like gold and silver and they slow down immensely, right? So just because it's happened in the past, it doesn't guarantee it's going to happen again in the future. But I kind of agree with you and kind of disagree with you. or I just give you a word of caution, I guess. Where is that guy Scarface? I've not seen him on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know, man. He's not on Twitter anymore. Loom lines are the crystal ball. I completely agree. Loom is a genius. Okay, I'll try that, man. Pop another gummy. Fuck you, bro. You try to get me fucked up, make a fool of myself on stream in front of 70 whole people. Me, do you trade options? I've totally switched. We ain't fucking watching those idiots. Um, like stock options or like options on crypto on Darebit. Because I don't do that, but I have traded stock options in the past, not so much anymore. But you want to know what the original altcoin market was? It's the fucking option market. They're derivatives of stocks. So lots of money can be made there. I do know how to trade them. I've traded them in the past, but not so much anymore. Um, yeah, I agree with you, Christopher. How many mgs of THC do you take for edibles? I have these gummy bears that I order online. It's legal here in Canada, so I don't know. It's easy for me to get. But they are 10 milligrams per gummy bear. So I'll eat like one of them, and then I'll eat like another one if I want to get more high. But like I've had some like fucking bad experiences on edibles, so I'm always kind of like relatively careful. I once ate like a 25 milligram fucking cookie right before like going for dinner with my parents, and that was the longest like 2 hours of my entire life. So I got burnt by edibles for a while, but I'm slowly starting to like kind of come back to them because I kind of want to stop smoking. I've been smoking pot for so long. I feel like it just can't be good to be smoking this much. I don't vape or any of that shit, but I just can't. I can't be asked with fucking continuing to smoke. So I'm trying to get back into eating weed because I do like getting high. I prefer getting high over getting drunk. What's the best tax trap to trade on in the US? I don't understand the question, and I'm Canadian. Um, Roku, I made so much damn money. Yeah, dude, one of my best fucking options trades of all time was the Las Vegas Sands. This was like back in 2014. Like all the casinos were getting fucked, and I had a sick trade. I'm trying to remember what it was trading at, but I don't know. I made like 400 or 500% on one trade, an option trade. Um, and it was awesome. So for options, I would trade on Quest Trade. Uh, the reason being is when I traded options, it was back in like 2013, 14. I was younger, I had less money. In Quest Trade, I could open up an account with only $3,000. Like TD Ameritrade, I think I would suggest now, but I believe the minimum is like 10,000, so I didn't have that at the time. Bet forex broker that I use, I'm in Canada, so take that with a grain of salt. Our leverage is not nearly as good as other countries. Like I use Oanda, OANDA, but the max leverage is 50 to 1, which isn't that good in forex. Has anyone else got any other questions, anything they'd like to discuss before I go put my face over a fucking pot of boiling water? Oh, okay, cash account. There you go. I don't know. Back when I did it, I just remember trying to get on like Ameritrade, and it was minimum of 10 grand. I just couldn't hack it at the time. I mean, Sheeb, if you had as much Doge as you and I had back in 2013, 14, we wouldn't even have to be having this conversation because we'd be Dogecoin millionaires by now. If you ever had sold that very coin of yours, you'd be set for life right now, my guy. You wouldn't even be working. You'd be big balling. just until you blew it all on pokes, obviously. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. Precision fireworks, flea works, bro. I have a transaction, a screenshot of a transaction. It's me selling like I can't even remember how much XR, but it was like for like 3 grand. I sold all this XRP. I think XRP was at like 0.6 cents. Like not even 6 cents, like 0.6 cents. And it would have been like, I don't even know, $2 million or something ridiculous at all time high. And it makes me sick. All right, guys. Anyone got any other questions here? I'll probably gonna sign off and go blow my nose. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone tuning in. This was a lot of fun. I'm sorry if I yelled at you. I'm sorry if you feel personally attacked or victimized by any of my rants, but just know that I love you. Um, and I want the best for everyone, and I'm gonna try and do this more regularly. It's easy to forget. I was doing these streams a lot when I had no followers, and clearly now the clout has clouded my vision. So I want to get back to just doing these streams because what I really like what I really like doing is interacting with you all. It's amazing to me that anyone gives any sort of shit what I have to say about anything. So, the least I can do is hop on here and yell at you guys and rant and just share my views and interact. So, gonna try and make this a weekly thing. So, I'll talk to y'all on Twitter. Feel free to hit up my DMs, my Discord, my website is in the description of this Twitter or of this video. And yeah, looking forward to interacting and you all. And let's get Bitcoin to go up. We all deserve girlfriends, man. So it's been a long no nut November. What would be better than Bitcoin going up in December? All of us getting girlfriends and getting laid. Sounds like a plan. I've never had an apprentice. I'll Polly DM me and remind me, and I'll post a chart of Ethereum on Twitter tomorrow. Best way to track volume? That's a good question. Uh, I have a couple tools I could show you, DJJ, if you want. DM me on Twitter, tell me you're on the stream, and I'll send you some things that I use. Some super sweet alpha. All right, guys, chat y'all later.